Nice boy teammate. Well, always say anything. I wanna say, dog, I've been tuning into this dude lately. I think everybody at least once in their life deserve a teacher like this compared to the bullshit education system that we have. Yeah, this dude, he having them conversations. That a lot of these conversations I be having with myself, because it's hard to have like-minded people, but the boldness of him to teach this. He a Canadian dude, but he Asian, and he teaching Canada and shit like that. But we finna tune in. We finna see some things, man. We I got some food and shit in the oven. I ain't trying to burn it. I love this video. You don't see it on there. You don't see. See how it's make sure everything working. Let's tune in, man.
Now, what's amazing about Marx is that today we say he's wrong, right? Communism happened in the Soviet Union and happened in China, but it happened in Europe and in the United States, where Marx said it would happen first because Germany was more industrialized than Russia or China. Okay, does that make sense? That's what we say. If you think about it deeply, okay, Marx is right. After World War II, every industrial society, to some extent, adopted the ideas of communism. Okay, does that make sense? Okay, we call this socialism, not communism, but basically it adhered to the thinking of Marx.
What just happened? They shut my shit down. What just happened? No way. Why did they tell my... No way. What just happened? Oh my whole computer just went slow. Hello, Sibo. How you doing? My whole computer just randomly shut down. Yeah, cause I'm sure. What? Okay, we're gonna try this again. What the fuck just happened? That's crazy. Pretty good day, man. I got some exercise in today. I stay active and stuff like that. How your day been, bro? I'm still, my computer literally just randomly cut off. That's the craziest shit I've ever seen. Oh, yeah. There we go.
These meals changed everything for me. I'll admit it, I was skeptical about ready-to-eat meals.
Skip.
But then I tried Factor, and after one...
Alright? Now,
We back.
what's amazing about Marx is that today we say he's wrong, right? Communism happened in the Soviet Union and happened in China, but it happened in Europe and in the United States, where Marx said it would happen first because Germany was more industrialized than Russia or China. Okay, does that make sense? That's what we say. If you think about it deeply, make sense? Okay? We call this socialism, not communism, but basically it adheres to the thinking of Marx, which is to make the worker the heart and center of your society. And why did they do that after World War II? Exactly, okay? Because workers create value.
The time is money.
Okay?
That's
Money doesn't create any value. Money just creates more money. Okay, it's speculative. But the workers create value. They're productive. And therefore, you have to treat your workers properly. So in America and in Europe, workers became the heart and center of your society. And the workers through unions could demand political reforms. And so our society was geared toward making the lives of the middle class, the working class, better, okay? That's why you had excellent healthcare, great public schools, cheap universities.
college used to
Okay?
be free.
So the 50s and 60s and 70s was basically the peak of society for the working class. But in the 80s, we started to change this. Why? Why would we want to change the system? It's a great system, right? Marx is right. Having the worker as the heart and center of your society, as the central organizing unit of society, makes a lot more sense than having money as the heart and center, okay? But starting in the 80s, we start to go back to money. Why?
Greed. See, oh yeah.
Excuse me? Who wants more? Yes, exactly. So what happened in the 80s is something called the revolt of the elite. Okay? In other words, the problem with having a society based on the worker is it becomes too egalitarian, too equal, right? But if you're like the elite, you don't want equality, you want difference. You want to have power and money in your hands. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So the revolt of the elite happened in the 80s, and this is what we call in the United States the Reagan Revolution, okay? The Reagan Revolution. The beginning of neoliberalism, free market capitalism. And in Britain, it was called Thatcherism, okay? Margaret Thatcher, the Thatcher Revolution. And so now you need to transition away from the worker to something else, okay? Another ideology that allows the elite to amass power, okay? So just to show you how radical this revolution.
Bro. There's no way my computer keeps. There's no way. They don't want me to show this shit. As usual. That's, bro. No way that happened again. What the fuck is going on? I don't know what's happening. Trying to have a civil discussion, learn some things, but they kind of trying to fuck with the shit. saying, man.
David, the movie.
I will not be afraid.
The Reagan Revolution, okay? The Reagan Revolution. The beginning of neoliberalism, free market capitalism. And in Britain, it was called Thatcherism, okay? Margaret Thatcher, the Thatcher Revolution. And so now you need to transition away from the worker to something else, okay? Another ideology that allows the elite to amass power, okay? So just to show you how radical this revolution was. In the 1970s, okay, 1970s, if you were a CEO, the head of a company, okay, you were making on average $1 million a year. That's pretty good, right? That's really good money. And that $1 million was more than 20 times the worker. Okay? And that's pretty reasonable. Today, the average CEO in the United States makes $20 million a year. And that is 200 to 300 times more than the average worker in the company. Okay, does that make sense? So,
No,
in the 80s, inequality started to explode, right? And so they're transitioning from the worker to a new organizing unit called the consumer. Okay? So they needed to destroy the working class, the middle class. And the way they did it was by introducing a new concept called the consumer, okay? So in the 50s, 60s, and 70s,
bro. My computer obviously keeps shutting down. We finna have to continue this. I'm gonna have to restart this time, bro.